So continuing on with my introduction, because so many people tell me that when it comes to faith, they have doubts, and they think that's bad. They think that makes them inadequate. And I propose today that if you don't doubt, you cannot have faith. I substitute the word wonder for doubt, because I have lots of doubts. I have lots of wonders. How did this all take place? I mean, who was this Jesus of Nazareth? We believe he was God. But don't you wonder about that? And don't you wonder how he did all the things that are recorded in the Gospels? Raising the dead and multiplying loaves and fishes and all that. Don't you wonder? I think we have to doubt. We have to wonder. And it's only by entering into those wonders and doubts that we come to a greater faith. That's what this is about. Jesus in the gospel said that others may believe that they would come to believe. And I think that's a lifetime process. In the bulletin article this week, I quoted from Hebrews 11. That's the classic line. Faith is confident assurance concerning what we hope for, and the conviction concerning what we do not see. Once again, faith is the confident assurance concerning what we hope for, and conviction concerning what we do not see. That's what faith is. And we have faith in one another. Again, I commented about this in my bulletin article. Don't we believe that other people are honest? Generally speaking, we give them the benefit of the doubt. You can't prove that. And it's only when we find out that they have done something dishonest that we start to lose faith in them. And once we lose faith, it's very hard to be restored in one another. So it is with God. Now, I think one of our problems today, because we live in such a visual, tactile world, is we want proof for our faith. And you cannot prove faith. In our society today, we have the words, I know and I believe. And because we're very casual in our speech, we interchange them to mean the same thing. But they're totally different. If you know something, you don't believe it. If you believe something, you cannot know it. And so as an example, I've used this before to demonstrate this idea. So what's this? It's an apple. Do you believe it's an apple, or do you know it's an apple? You know it's an apple because you can come up here and smell it, taste it, feel it, bite it. You know it's an apple. You don't believe it's an apple. Okay? So now, I have two. Do you know these are apples, or do you believe these are apples? Now remember, it's a trick question. Now you believe these are apples because this is plastic. You don't know it. You have to believe it. That's the difference. So don't try to know things that you have to believe, and don't believe things that you have to know, because you cannot prove faith. Another example. You cannot prove love. You cannot prove love. You cannot prove the existence of God. Even with the best gigantic telescopes looking out into the heavens, or with the best of computer knowledge, you cannot prove the existence of God. You can illustrate everything up to creation. Look at creation, and people say, well, with all of creation, God exists. No, with all of creation, we can lead you to say, how did this happen? But then after that, you have to make the leap of faith that God caused it, that God created it. Same with, I said, love. You cannot prove you're in love. You cannot have scientists hook up electronic wiring to your pulse and your blood pressure and your respiration to prove you're in love. It's something we believe in. And I hope that you experience this, that you experience love for others and others' love for you. That's what we're called to do. Now, in the event of the gospel, the disciples believed in Jesus when he appeared to them after the resurrection. But remember that Jesus did not come back the same way. He didn't look the same as when he left. Lazarus was resuscitated. That means Lazarus came back to this life as he was, so you could recognize him. But Jesus wasn't resuscitated, he was resurrected. He came back in a different form. So even though Jesus appeared to them, they couldn't tell it was Jesus. They had to put their faith in him, that this was the resurrected Jesus. The same with Thomas. Because if you can prove it, you can't believe it. And if you believe it, you can't prove it. Jesus didn't look the same. Look at our sacred hosts at the through him, with him, and in him. When I hold up the consecrated bread and wine, can you see Jesus? Well, he doesn't look like a person, and that's the same as he appeared to the apostles. But they still believe in him. And when we hold up that consecrated bread and wine, we believe it's the presence of Christ. And I hope you pray with me, my Lord and my God. And that's the breath that Jesus breathes into us. It's the breath of life. That's the Spirit. When a baby is born, what's the first thing they do? Is they want the baby to take a breath. That's the Spirit. Every time you breathe, that's the Holy Spirit. And when we physically die, what happens? We give up our breath. That spirit then goes up to God. But you have to experience that. Some of you know the great old story about the man walking along the edge of a cliff. Hundreds of yards over the edge down would be solid rock, sure death. He walks along the edge because he likes a little bit of a thrill, but he happens to step on a loose rock and he slides over the edge. And as he's slowly descending down, trying to grasp for something so he doesn't die, he grabs onto a tree branch that's growing out of the rock. And he's dangling there. Can't go up. If he goes down, he's dead. So he calls out, "Can anybody help me?" And the proverbial cloud came over him, and the voice from the cloud said, "I am the Almighty. I can help you." The man said, "Oh, please help me." But the voice said, "I ask one thing of you. Anything you ask, I'll promise I'll do. Anything. And the voice said, "I ask only one thing. I'll do it. That you let go." To believe, we have to let go. Thank you for watching the homily on Easter Sunday here at St. Elizabeth Ann Seton in New Berlin. We invite you to join us any weekend for worship with us, or you can watch us on mysaintelizabeth.com or on Facebook. Happy Easter.